so that everyone can benefit. So once again, my name is Tekena Ikoko, and if you're listening to me, you're listening to me because you're interested in classroom dynamics that can unleash students' potentials in schools. I am the lead trainer and CEO of Mold Africa, currently speaking to you from Netherlands in Europe, and I'll be off after this time back to Canada where I'm based. All right, to be able to drive home the essence of this project that we are embarking on for schools all over the world, um, allow me to please tell you a quick story, very quick story, which I'll use to drive home everything I want to talk about today. So let's meet Tunde. Tunde is a maths teacher, okay? And he always wanted to be an engineer, but the no job status and of unemployment across the world and not just Africa made him settle for a teacher. And he never loved teaching, but finding himself in this position, he often found out that he struggled to go the extra mile because for him, teaching was simply a means to an end. That was not his dream job. That was not what he wanted to do. It was just going to be a stopgap of what he would do in the meantime. And if you look at statistics of teachers' turnover, in 5 years, literally, the teachers in a school can literally be overhauled, and new sets of teachers are all is the fastest turnover in different industries comparing to most industries. And that's simply because the regular Mr. Tunde sees teaching as a means to an end, and at least that's what he taught. All right, moving from there, and let's meet Sarah. Sarah, on the other hand, has a phobia for maths, and her phobia for maths began in primary school. All right, her elder brother, her younger sister, her teachers, and her parents made sure that she never forgot the standard of excellence. You have to pass maths, you know, and this is a standard she just could never measure up to, no matter how often she tried. And the meeting point for me is that Tunde gets to meet Sarah. Okay, Tunde gets to meet Sarah, and teacher meets student. Okay, and what you find out is lack of inward motivation meets insecure mentality. That's the two streams coming together. And someone who is saying, I will soon leave here, meets somebody who says, I will soon embarrass myself and my family. That is the clash. And the question is this your school? Because if this is your school, when you look around, then that's why I'm here today. Because my dilemma is that the classroom can easily be a silent slaughterhouse, or can be a creative powerhouse. It's either of those two going on right now in schools all over the world, where somebody's potentials are actually being slaughtered, or somebody's potentials is being creatively enhanced and unleashed, irrespective of the initial desire of the owner of the school or the visionary of the school or the educational sector. They may have curriculum put in place, but I'm talking about what actually happens in the classroom. My dilemma is that it can easily become then a silent slaughterhouse, or a creative powerhouse. So my story continues basically because the unconscious mandate from the school was very clear for Tunde. It's either your students pass or you pass away. I use the word unconscious because not as if they're telling you that, but they're clearly telling you that if you're teaching and the students are not passing, then we'll literally pass over you to get somebody else to do the job. So it now puts more pressures on people like Tunde, who are there for the money or the time while waiting to do what is really their dream job, to then meet this mandate, which is the unconscious mandate that is out there for all of us, whether we like it or not. And so when Tunde showed up in this class, the sad reality for Tunde is that he didn't find only Sarah in his class. Okay. In fact, half of students in a standard class are just like Sarah. Okay. Sarah struggles with math. Kunle struggles with English. Raphael struggles with chemistry. Musa has lost focus on biology, and Susan has a phobia for everything. If you put the statistics together and look at students' results, only 3 to 5% of students are all A students. Only 3 to 5% of students. 50% of students struggle with about 50% of their subjects. They excel here, here, or here, but generally they will almost struggle with about 50% of their other subjects. Okay, and when you find a thing like this, I normally summarize it with the name Susan and just say, look, Susan has a phobia literally for everything. And when this meets in a class, then what exactly is going on in the class? All right, a practical example to just drive this in very easily, very quickly, is that the teenager is supposed to be in transition. And a lot of people don't know this, that there are 3 core things that defines a teenager's transition. In Mole Africa, we call it the bus stop model, we call it the airport model, and the corridor model. In this model, most teenagers, for example, will go through what we call the curiosity phase, where sex issues become very, very important to them, whereas their body moves into that state, they within themselves are under huge self-destruction. So the girls are just beginning to see their period, their breasts are just beginning to grow up, the boys are beginning to have hairs in strange places. All that is going on at the same time as they are in their most critical phase of learning. Okay, at the same time, they're under a tense peer pressure to meet up with their peers, with their standard of living, and and all that is going on. And this transition, at the same time, is putting loads on them about what kind of subjects they can read, what kind of subjects they cannot read. The girl they are attracted to, the boy they're not attracted to. All this is hitting them at the same time, and people don't realize how much words around them impact them as much as actions. A boy will tell lies, not because he's a liar. He will tell lies because there's somebody he's trying to impress or somebody he's trying to help around. And these dynamics affects his entire learning scheme, his entire learning scheme. And knowing this or not knowing this in the classroom finds out that you do not understand the dynamics of what's actually going on within and without. Whether you're running primary school or you're running A levels, is the same thing. All right. So let's compare 2 different responses of teachers, 2 general responses of teachers to a student's answer, just to bring this down, in a way everyone listening to me can understand. One teacher tells a student a standard thing. He says, you are wrong. Answers the question and just tells him you are wrong. Another one tells him your answer isn't right yet. 2 different responses to the same issue that the student didn't get the answer. I repeat, the student didn't get the answer. The math teacher says you're wrong. Or another teacher says your answer isn't right yet. What's the difference with this simple change? This simple change is that one focuses on the person, while the other one focuses on the process. One focuses on the person. When you tell the teenager you are wrong, and then the friends around him giggle, it's not just the answer is wrong. He feels his person is wrong. There's something wrong with me. I'm not as smart as he takes the response and attributes it to his person. So you may think you're saying that the answer is wrong, but in your wrong phrasing, you have actually focused on the person and not the process. The second teacher says your answer isn't right yet. It will be right maybe middle of the term. It may be right maybe in second term. Or maybe it may get right when you get to year 3. Or you get right, maybe finally you get to a university and you understand, whoa. So that's how this thing was actually solved. My teacher told me I will get it someday. Not that I am wrong. There's no finality to learning. But one teacher has put a cap and has damaged learning. One other teacher has improved learning and put it in the place where the person sees that I didn't get it now, doesn't mean I can't get it later. Some people are slow learners, some people are fast learners. And the dynamics of these people come into your class. And if you're not careful just by your phrases, simple example, you have slaughtered one potential and you have unleashed another potential. Your intention may be right, but your results are different. Okay? Look at it again. One shatters self-esteem and the other one creates a dynamic learning environment. This is not about skill set. This is about team psychology, team dynamics, emotional intelligence, and how you're presenting your subjects in that classroom. Okay? This is what I ask you to do. Think carefully when you were in school. Think carefully, everybody, think carefully. Would you rather stay in a class where you can still learn when you are wrong, or be in a class where you dare not be wrong if you want to learn? Think about it. And then tell me in the chat which class you like to be in. Go to the chat room and let's have a quick discussion. Let me get your feedback on that. Which of this class would you rather be in? Class A, where you can still learn when you are wrong, or class B, where you dare not be wrong if you want to learn? Tell me, go to the chat room, everyone. Let's know you're in the class. Let's know you're in my brief presentation. Go to the chat room and just tell me class A or class B. Tell me, which one would you rather be in? All right, I want to read your response. Eva says, I'd rather be in class A. Okay, tell me, which other class would you like to be in? Somebody else tell me. Oh, I see class A, favor, pero. I like to put somebody on the spot. Eva, I like to put you on the spot. I like to enable your mic. I hope I can hear you. Let's see if I can enable your mic. Yes, Eva, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Tell me, why would you like to be in class A?
Because first of all, I won't have anxieties in that class. I'll be able to be myself, make mistakes, and learn. And that's pretty much it.
Fantastic. I love the fact that you actually tie it to an emotion and you say, I won't have anxiety. Anxiety and frustrations take a student out of his comfort zone, out of his learning environment, and is responsible for why most people struggle with attention issues and struggle with memory issues. Just the word anxiety. When a teacher walks into the class, the emotion he evokes automatically says what happens throughout the class. He has not even opened his mouth. Just by walking into the class, if his demeanor and history evokes anxiety, he shuts down learning by as minimum of 50%. He has not even opened his mouth just because he evokes anxiety. And so when you are anxious, the brain triggers a flight or fear response. So you're quickly looking for how to survive the next 30 minutes of your life. That's all you're thinking about. That's what your entire RAS, as we call it, the RAS in the brain. Sorry, I don't want to go too detailed. I'll keep it as simple as I can. But the RAS in the brain immediately is triggered to look for how do I survive the next 30 minutes. And if you're in survival mode, you're not in learning mode. I repeat, if you're in survival mode, you're not you're in learning mode. You're not taking in new information. You're just taking the basic thing to just get out of that state. So thank you so much, Eva. I appreciate that feedback from you. All right, let's proceed. And as we look more at this, Adekemi has his or her hand raised. So let me allow Kemi to speak. Kemi Ologun, you want to say something?
I'm not really.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll mute your mic back. All right, so that's a practical example. And let's go quickly back to the story of Tunde and Sarah. All right, so when Tunde meets Sarah, when he met Sarah, he realized a powerful truth. You can't give what you don't have. And when you are broken, battered, bitter, that's what you give. When you're hot, furious, angry, dissatisfied, that's what you give. And that's what you give. And in psychology, we say it's not just what you say, it's what your body language is saying. Your body language attributes for 55% of what you are saying. Your words say only 7%. Your body language, as you walk in, says 55%. Your tone says 35%. So what you are giving is really what you are on the inside. You can't give what you don't have. So when we talk about the collapse in the as an influencer in the educational sector, this becomes something that everybody sits up and becomes a wake-up call and says, you're looking at their paper and they're telling you what they qualified at. And you're using that as the basis of your recruitment and your exercises and bringing them into your business sector. However, they can't give what they don't have is beyond their educational qualification, is also their emotional state or well-being, right? And when he realized this, what did he do? He still had little or no additional resources. And to come up with that, very simply, he decided that he was going to refuse to be a barrier to learning. He decided to show up for Sarah and all Sarahs as a different Tunde. This is what I'm here to discuss today, and this is what I'm here to offer as a service in what solution we are providing for this. Okay, so every day, very simple thing Tunde did, for example, was that every day he showed up with a lovely flower in a jar to his class every day, a different flower. Okay, at the end of that class, he would say aloud, I didn't choose to be here, just like this flower, but it's my duty to brighten the place I find myself. So today, I commend your effort at learning. Be a smiling flower in all you do. He made that the closing statements he makes at the end of each class. Is that not amazing? Very simple, but it changes the emotional energy around the place. Okay, be a smiling flower. You've been cut off, placed in a jar, but yet you still choose to be an impact, an influencer, and change the energy around you. And the key thing I like there, he says, I commend your effort. I commend your effort. You're not there yet, but I commend your effort at learning and changing that. I have good news for you. Okay? 8 years later, Sarah gives a feedback, true feedback, actual feedback sent to me. Said Mr. Lasupo, he complained more about my weakness during my A-level Cambridge school and made me feel insecure. I didn't believe in myself, and this made me fail the course he taught then, literature and English, which was supposed to be one of my favorite subjects. I totally lost interest in it until now. While my maths teacher, Mr. Babatunde, was his opposite, as he always encouraged us and made us see that the subject wasn't difficult, and this I did well in that subject, and for this I did well in the subject. Think about it. Just by changing the dynamics in the class, it doesn't mean that Mr. Olosupo doesn't know how to teach. It's much more than that. All right, and think again. Many years from now, most students will not remember all the definitions, formulae, phrases you taught them, but they will never forget how you raised their potentials, and most importantly, how you made them feel. And this is where I ask you to stop, literally stop, and think back about your primary school. What do you remember? Think back about your secondary school. What do you remember? I've done these trainings all over the country. And I normally stop and just ask my participants, go to the chat room and just tell me about one teacher who really inspired you. What did they do? Go to the chat room, just mention their name and how they made you feel. I'd like to read some of them before the class continues. Please go to the chat room. Tell me one name of a teacher you remember either in your secondary school or primary school, and how did they make you feel? Can I read some of them, please? I'll be excited to read some of them, please. Can you just go to the chat room as briefly as you can? Just tell me the name of the teacher, maybe what he taught or she taught, and how did they make you feel? All right, can I read some of them? Please go to the chat room. And while you're doing that, I'll tell you mine. What I remember is my primary 5 teacher, Mrs. Saki, in Port Harcourt Primary School in Port Harcourt. I don't remember what she taught. I don't remember this grammar she taught. I don't remember any of that. But what I do remember was the comments she made to me. She said, you're such a thrill to teach. I'm so proud to teach you. She made a comment like that to me. And of course, I'm 47 years old now, 46 years old now. I could easily have been 7 years then. And so about 39 years afterwards, that's what I still remember about Mrs. Saki. All right. Helen says, Mrs. Ologun Loko, forgive me, made me feel great and truly inspired me in integrated science. Ajayi says, Mr. DME, my biology teacher, who discovered my ability in literacy, and whoa, it's pouring in now. Thank you so much. In literacy and debating. Felicia says, Mr. Chidi, my accounts teacher who taught and retaught until learning took place. He once told me I can teach myself. Is that not amazing? Okay. My primary 6 teacher, very caring, understanding, forgiving. Wow. Think about it, forgiving. My JS2 French teacher, then Miss Diana, who was a copper at that time, treated me like her own brother and son. She cared so much for me that I vowed to treat students well if I became a teacher during NYC. Mrs. F. Young, my English teacher, she inspired me to like English. She taught it so well that I said, well, if you could speak English like an Englishman. You see what I'm talking about? That when I do this in my huge seminars, people write what really they remember. Now, sadly, in the same way they write what inspired them, guess what they write? They remember that teacher who did this to me, who did that to me. I don't want the comments to go there, but I know it can pour when I ask people to do that. But and Adekemi says, my primary 4 teacher, I believed so much in me that I could do better if I studied hard. Now I want to throw something else at you. Imagine if your primary school teacher that inspired you was the same one that taught you in university or during your master's program. Imagine that same teacher was the one who taught you in your most difficult subjects. First of all, you will show up without anxiety. First of all, you will show up without anxiety because you know it's that my English teacher. You will know it's that Mr. Olobukon. You will know. So the problem will not be how difficult it is. The problem will be who is taking it, how they are taking it. That's why class dynamics becomes amazingly critical for the 21st century teacher. All right. Thank you so much for your feedback, amazing feedback. All right, so this is how I summarize it. The classroom is not just a forum for exchange of information. No, no, no. It's also a place to unleash or crucify potentials. Think about it. Just think about it. It's also a place. Physics, chemistry, or fine arts may be going on at the surface, but what's going on beneath it is actually the unleashing or the crucifixion of potentials. Pause for a moment and think about it. Now, by the time we're all in our 40s or 50s, we don't remember those details. What we remember is whether we were at our best at that season of our life. All right? And this is where it comes down to. If a teacher does not understand teen psychology and how it relates to their individual subject, they might be right about their subjects, even fantastic in their delivery, but they could have slaughtered potentials along the way. I'll take that one more time. A teacher who doesn't understand teen psychology and how it relates to his individual subject. Don't get me wrong, I know there's a place for a school psychologist, there's a place for school counselor and guidance and counselor. I'm saying you as a physics teacher, you as a home economics teacher, that beyond the subject, it's not just what you're teaching, it is how and the way you're able to carry even the lowest down on that line along, or else you could have slaughtered potentials along the way. A very sad example, I will not mention his name, in the UK, was a guy who got up to answer a question in the class, and when he got it wrong, all his classmates laughed at him, and the teacher made the big mistake of saying, "You are dumb. You are really dumb." And he said he sat down and decided he was going to make everybody in his class pay for it. 10 years later, he became a serial killer and went after every single one in that same veil, because you could have slaughtered potentials along the way. All right, not to go this in a sad way, feedback from Mole Africa graduates all over the world. So far now, in the past 5 years, Mole Africa has trained over 5,000 participants in Dubai, in the Netherlands, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, and more recently in Canada. And for me, when I asked for feedback, I found out that they just came under two broad categories. Two broad categories of the feedback I seem to get. They say, "I wish my teachers in school knew the dynamics of managing my emotions, temperaments, and potentials. I wouldn't be so hot and battered today." Second one I get, which is why I'm here today, is Tekena, where were you when I was a teenager? Why didn't you visit my school to speak to my teachers and our parents? This is the summary of most of the feedback I get. And I've been doing training officially for about 5 years now, but I've been doing training for about 25 years altogether now. And I can tell you, the more I see this, I decided that we needed to come up with a solution. That's why I came here to give you this brief today. And I'll give you one more before I tell you what I think we can do for it, and I'll open the floor for your contribution. All right. Statistics say that a teacher gets to discipline a child, a student, 2 to 3 times each week. Okay. Now imagine the size of that class. How much time does a teacher spend in class for actual teaching? Okay, school owners, heads of school, listen to me. Okay, heads of departments, listen to me. How much time does a teacher spend in class for actual teaching? If there are 30 students, and of course in many schools there are more, if there are 30 students in a class and it takes 3 minutes to correct a student, then it's safe to say that a teacher spends about 65% of his time in class disciplining, correcting, reprimanding, repeating instructions, and only 40% of the time learning. only 40% of the time learning. And the question is, what actually are you paying your teachers for? What actually are you paying your teachers for? So this is our solution. This is our solution. We have decided that Mall Africa would release a new product into that is peculiar to the um, educational sector. Right now, what we do cuts across so many sectors, but with the bombardment of feedback I've gotten from so many people, we've decided to launch a new product and a new forum specifically for the educational sector. It is a 3 levels program, 4 weeks per term. 4 weeks per term, and each session lasts for just 1 hour. Just like this class, where looking at my time now, we've done just about 40 minutes. Okay, so in 20 minutes, this class is over. So 1 hour, once a week, 4 times in a term, and you're able to go through this training. Number 2 is that we said this, it will be online exactly like this, delivered like this directly to your school. So you're not leaving your school to go somewhere or to travel to go somewhere. No, it'll be delivered directly in your school, and you will have an option of attending it on Tuesdays between 2:30 and 3:30, or on Fridays between 2 o'clock and 3 p.m. Your school just chooses which one best suits them. Okay. All right. And then, so from the comfort of your school auditorium or a conference room, 20 of your top teachers can enroll for this class. There can be more teachers, but a minimum of 20 so that they can be able to do all the exercises and the games and everything together. So it can be more, but 20 of your top teachers get to enroll for this training. They don't have to leave the school. They don't have to go anywhere. They're right in school. They just go in at that particular time and do their training online, projector. I'm live from wherever I'm in the world with my team, and we're able to train your people right in that school. All right. So it will be live, it will be interactive, and more importantly, you will have top schools from all over Nigeria and the rest of the world having that amazing networking and really being able to get best of ideas, and so if you have a question, you have multiple people from different schools and different places being able to brainstorm with you and be able to make learning better, increase your net worth, see what other people are doing so you're not lost in. There's an amazing networking opportunity, an amazing inspiring tool. That's what we're going to be offering. And what do you get from this? What you get from this is that, number one, you will be taught how to identify a teenager's bent, the bent principle, to inspire them for maximum productivity. Number two, you will be shown how to inculcate emotional intelligence into the subject you're teaching. So it's not a standalone thing out there. The physics teacher will use physics and inculcate emotional intelligence into his physics or chemistry or biology or social studies. Emotional intelligence will be inculcated into his teaching to inspire sustained lesson. Okay, number three is you will be shown how to adapt your teaching materials to fit the 4 categories of students in a class, even with very low financial budgets. The 4 categories of students that are in a class, how to adapt your materials to carry all of them along, even with very low financial budget. Number 4, you will learn how to manage your classroom and spend more time learning rather than disciplining. What we call discipline that works and does not work. You will be shown that also. And then more important, we will show you how to help teachers to find their voice, their passion, and their self-worth in an industry that was hardly their initial dream, desire, or destination. Make the best of it and find the love of their lives and the passion of themselves again, right there. This is what you will get from this product. Okay, and I know the question everybody asks me is, so Tekena, how much? Tekena, how much? But before we rush how much, I just want to find out, is this something you're interested in? Go to the chat room and just tell me yes or no. Let's see. Okay, do you think this is something you'll be interested in? Forget the amount first. Go to the chat room. Tell me, does this interest you? Does this look like something that's going to be wow for your school or your colleagues? Go to the chat room and just tell me, oh, okay, I see a yes there. Yes, anybody else? I wish I had time. I have just 15 minutes, to ask you, why do you say yes? Okay, why do you say yes? Bear with me. Why do you say yes? And if you don't mind, I'd like somebody who would also, you know, click raise hand and tell me what you think about it. And just tell me why you think this is something you would like to do. Okay. Why this is something you would like to do. Let's see, Felicia. Can I put on your mic? Felicia, are you there?
Yes.
Felicia, you say salivating. Why do you say so?
Hello.
I can hear you,
Greetings.
Felicia.
Okay. Honestly, when it comes to school, these are areas that are really affecting learning. How to handle students, because there are different, teachers use one style for all the children, forgetting that they differ. They have got their different temperament, they have got their different learning styles, they've got their different learning abilities. So it's a crucial aspect in teaching and learning. It's
Wow.
something that every teacher should know, honestly. Every teacher should know this. It's
Fantastic.
really going to change a whole lot of things in the school environment. The discipline, how to discipline children. You see a teacher, you are in the classroom and you ask a child to go out and kneel down, and the child will also miss that class. So teachers, they really need to know all this, how to discipline children. It's not all
Fantastic.
about, yes, it's really interesting. They should know
Thank
it.
Thank you so much. I see you're really fired up. Let's take one more. Samuel Jones. So, what do you think about what we've offering, sir?
It's very timely. I think it's very timely, and I think we should. Why don't you spread it to weekends? Perhaps that would be okay for some people because of time schedule where we are.
Okay,
What do you think about it?
I'm open to that. I'm really open to that. I think in our planning, we thought more about people having weekends to themselves, and except if it's a boarding school environment. Even if it's in a boarding school environment, the school doesn't work functionally over the weekend. And since people need to gather and it's just 1 hour, but we're open to it. If we have more people requesting for that, we can create a timing for a weekend slot.
I
That
think we
I'm
can
open
explore
to.
it.
Thank you so much. Somebody's asking whether for a copy of this presentation is actually being recorded. So everything is being recorded. So I will give you the video. If you just send us a request, we'll give you this so you can actually have it and listen to it over, or take it to your chairman or whoever can take a decision. Well, thank you so much. So how much is it? Let's go straight into the juicy part of this. How much is this? What are we offering? Okay, first of all, the training will begin on the 15th of October, the very first batch, and will end on the 8th of November. So it's 4 Tuesdays or 4 Fridays, or if we can add some weekend, I'm open to that. But it's 4 weekends, four classes, that is where just 1 hour. All right. This is what we decided to do. We decided that this training from next academic session will cost 300,000 naira for the next academic session, not this current academic session, because that's what we are projecting that it will cost by that time. However, I haven't talked to quite some number of NAPS presidents and leaders. We've decided that for this year, the program will be placed at 200,000 naira for unlimited number of teachers in the school. Unlimited number of teachers, that will be the premium price that it will be placed at. However, still that you came to this meeting and you're listening to us, we decided to push it even further. We want to give, as a pilot and first entry offer, we have decided to give a one-off offer of 150,000 naira for the first 20 schools that register on or before the 30th of September 2019, and this is for the basic level. So if you look at it cumulatively from 300,000, we have given you a 50% discount. And even if you brought in 50 teachers, that means each person simply paid 3,000 naira. Okay, so if 50 teachers sat in your hall or 20 teachers sat in your hall, that means that each of them were paying less than 5,000 naira for this. That is the mindset I have for this. And when people tell me, why is your training very cheap? Because I know for a knowing that only some key companies in South Africa do this, and many schools literally send their people all the way to South Africa to go and do classroom dynamics management training course. The flight tickets alone, only one person can go. That person comes back and tries to teach the whole school. I don't think that's good enough. But we want to say for half the price of that ticket, which is 150,000 naira, you can get unlimited number of teachers to sit down in a place and go through the training directly from an expert like me. That's what we're offering, but it's for the first 20 schools that register. If not, the price then goes up after the 30th or once we cross over the first 20 schools. That is what we're offering today, and I think it's an amazing giveaway. So what are your next steps? Your next step simply is to quickly as today, pay 150,000 naira on or before the 30th of September. We're making it unlimited number of teachers, okay? And that's amazing for you. 150,000 naira on or before the 30th. And our bank details are on the screen, either to the Zenith Bank account, First Bank account, or FCMB account. Those, you can take a screenshot of that, or you can copy that out. And once you do that, you call our hotlines, Mr. Jubal, on 08067907884, or Princess on 09013535626. Or you can send me a private email, because I've been traveling around, so I can't give you a number to reach me. But you can send me an email at tekena.ikoko@moldafrica.com, and I will attend to you personally and privately. All right. Finally, what we also want to offer is that if you get another school to register other than your school, you will get a 20% referral bonus. Okay, so maybe you're here, you're a teacher, another proprietor somewhere, and you can get them to register their school for this. If that deal comes through you and we confirm it's through you, you will get 20%. In other words, for 150,000 naira for referring the school and they signed up, you will get 30,000 naira. Imagine if you can do that for 5, 10 schools, then that's easy passive income. And the question you asked me is, why are we doing this? My goal is to raise 5 million influencers in Africa to change the discussion of Africa and unleash the potentials of this continent. That is the mandate I have seen, and that's what we are pursuing. And through critical training that meets this kind of needs, that is what we want to achieve. And that's why we are here. So this is what we're offering, and this is what we want you to be able to key into by the dates and the deadlines that are out on the screen. And this is where, oh dear, I made a mistake there. Sorry. All right. So this is where did I get that right? Where we say thank you and key questions that on the screen to help you to also talk or share your thoughts. We have just less than 10 minutes. What would you like us to add or remove in this program? How does this program fit in your school, or any other question? So thank you for having me, And this is where I stop to take questions. One more time, you can give us a question by putting it on the Zoom chat, or you can click raise hand and I can take your question. All right, while the question session is going on, I will leave this on the screen where you can see the bank details, you can see the contacts, you can see the emails, and you can see all of that. All right, so questions on the chat or your hand raised up, any of them. Somebody says, I think there's a need to repeat of this. The notice is short, so many school owners need to see this. So we're making the video, the request, the video is going to be available. All those who registered for the training, so long as you registered, you will receive an email from us where the video will be attached and sent to you with a link for you to just download it either directly or to just download it from your email. So we'll give a link where this recording will be downloaded and you can watch it. So we're going to do that, and it's going to be sent to all those who registered for the training. Okay. How does a teacher invoke anxiety in a class as he walks in? Sophia, good question. Your body language, the impact of your body language carries 55% of your communication impact. So just by your body language speaks louder than your words. And people need to know that beyond their body language, their tone attributes to 35% of the impact of communication. So just learning in a creative way how to adjust your body language, your results in your class can literally double. Okay, when somebody asks a question and the question is wrong, the body language in which you receive the wrong question speaks louder than even when you open your mouth to speak. That is why, as adults, we move closer to people whose body language is more welcoming. And that is very key. Some of the things we'll go into details to explain as the class commences. Zainab, you said you came in late. You want to receive the recordings. Yes, we'll send it to everybody who registered for the training. Literally by this afternoon, you will have it in your mailboxes or whatever email you use to send to us, or in any of the numbers you call. Yes, please. Somebody's saying another section that will not be a bad idea is, oh, okay, someone is requesting if we can have another session next week. Yes, I don't mind. Since the program is starting on the 30th, we will announce another class again next week, same time. Okay, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Same time next week, we will announce another session of this, so that apart from that, you can have it again in a live session. Someone is asking, will there be a certificate? Of course, there will be a certification for the individual and for the school. Definitely, there will be certificates that will be issued out and signed by me and sent to your school. It's going to be all inclusive. The only thing I will tell you straight up is that it will be that all schools will have to pay for their delivery from Lagos, okay? From Lagos or from the Netherlands or from Canada. So whichever one is closest to you, you will have to pay for the delivery. So if your school is in Lagos, fine, we can do a quick intercity delivery to you, but we will not be responsible for delivering. I mean, you're in a school somewhere in Abuja and we want to send, if we do that, it's just going to raise the cost of the program, and that will not be practical. All right. So yes, there will be certificates, and yes, you'll get your delivery off from our West African office in Lagos or international office in Europe, in the Netherlands, or in America from Canada. So thank you so much, everyone. I think that covers our 1 hour time limit, and I want to appreciate you. Sophia is saying the school that you introduced when they sign up, how will the 20% be handled? So you have our contacts there. Tell us the school that you're already talking to. And once it is pulled through, because we will engage you, that you have to make sure the deal goes through. So once we know that it's through you, then very easily, once they make payments, the money is sent straight to you. It's as straightforward as that. So thank you once again. Once again, just a quick recap. We can make a difference by changing the classroom dynamics beyond what we teach to how exactly the classroom is run. My name is Tekena once again, and thank you for listening to me. Contacts are all on the screen. Let's make this happen, not just for you and I. Let's make it happen for Africa and the rest of the world. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your time and your patience, and have a great, wonderful day. Bye for now.